Hello everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing the Chinese Room's latest, Still Wakes the Deep, a horror set on a Scottish oil rig in 1975. Before I get started, I'd like to give a massive shout out to Hello Guillotine for providing me with a code for Still Wakes the Deep. You are absolute legends and you have my eternal gratitude. If you haven't done it already, please remember to hit the subscribe button and also like this video as it helps me out massively. Also, please feel free to leave comments and talk to me about what you think of Still Wakes the Deep. Right, let's get into it. In Still Wakes the Deep, you take on the role of Cameron McCleary, more affectionately known as Kaz by his friends, who leaves his family behind for reasons later revealed to go work on an oil rig in the North Sea, right near Christmas 1975. Kaz finds himself in a little hot water with the boss, and before he can leave the oil rig, things go horribly wrong and a weird alien-like entity starts to take over. As you can imagine, fun and games ensue. It was described by the devs as The Thing, but on a Scottish oil rig in the 1970s, and I have to say that's pretty accurate. When it comes to horror, I do like that adrenaline rush of feeling scared, battling one's own patience of how long to wait before stepping out of the shadows to find the next safe space. It's even worse when there is no real safe space at all. Everything is a hazard and you just don't know what's coming. That was my experience with this game. After things took a turn for the worst, every corner I turned felt like there was something waiting to jump out on me. It's a good state to be in, and I applaud the Chinese Room's ability in making it happen. When you do come across a creature, well, let's just say they are not very easy on the eyes, and I couldn't get away from them fast enough. Sorry, I'm downplaying them a little. They are fucking horrific to look at, but that is cool. Some proper grotesque monsters to run away from is just what the doctor ordered and only amps up the pressure. Most of the time when you are in a room with one, it's a case of carefully sneaking around until the moment is right to move away. There are items strewn around the level and you can throw them to make a distraction, but a lot of the time, if I threw an object at a certain spot, instead of the monster going to that spot, it would actually just come to where I was, which felt like a bit of a bug. What made it worse was when my little hiding spot, which I thought I was safe in, got invaded by a creature after the item mishap. I was annoyed at the bug, but at the same time thought, damn, I'm not really safe here either, which is cool as well. Other monster encounters come in the form of chase sequences, which, while are mostly linear, do provide some cool tension. There's also a button to look behind you while you're moving, so doing this in chase is terrifyingly fantastic. This, alongside the slew of noises coming from, well, everywhere, is enough to keep you on the edge from start to finish, which I also have to applaud. In between the monster encounters, Still Wakes the Deep showcases another of its strengths in its characters and writing. The voice acting is on point, and not once were any performances unbelievable. The emotion conveyed by every character felt genuine, and it only helped to add to the tension of the situation. From the playful banter between friends, the venom spewed from Rennick towards Kaz, or the painful exchanges between Kaz and Suze, everything felt real, and as a result I cared more about the fate of these characters, especially Roy, who is played by Sean Dooley. I recognise that gruff voice anywhere. But of course, a massive shout out to Alec Newman, who plays Kaz, and Neve McIntosh, who plays Suze, as their performances really make the experience. Also, adding to the experience is the authenticity of it all. I've never set foot on an oil rig, but I felt like I was on one, and knowing there's nowhere really to go once the threats emerge makes the setting feel claustrophobic, which only amps up the terror and tension. Everything felt like the utmost care was taken to really make you feel like you were in 1975. Small details such as notes, newspaper clippings, the radios and the way people spoke, it all felt very authentic. Speaking of which, the language used was shockingly and refreshingly realistic. I don't think I've seen this much effing and jeffing in a video game before, and I'm here for it. It only helped bring a little more realism to the game. Do I feel that a slightly longer experience would have developed these characters even more? Maybe. It's a hard one because if this was premised as a movie, you'd only have around 2 hours to fall in love with these characters and feel something by the end. I finished Still Wakes the Deep in a little under 4 hours, and yes, while I enjoyed the acting and emotions it brought, it still felt just a little too short for me to develop a complete emotional attachment to the characters. It was the difference between me going, "That's a shame about character X," to, "Man, I feel like I'm welling up here." Once again, that's not me taking away anything from the performances. They were very, very good. But a little longer with these characters would have tipped me over the emotional edge. From a gameplay perspective, 4 hours really isn't that long for a £30 title, especially one that's so linear. There's never really any incentive to explore, and even when you do try, there's not much in the way of off the beaten path to discover. All you have is the linear path set before you. Now that being said, I don't have a problem with shorter games, and I certainly don't have a problem with linear games, but I have to weigh it up against value for money. As a rule, I hate bloat in video games. Too many games are padded out to bump up the price point, and the lengths end up being 40 to 60 hours when the same results could have been achieved in half that time. The characters, narrative and setting alone is enough to say, yeah, it is worth the price point, despite only being 4 hours long. Playing a game is obviously very different to watching a film. You can throw on your favourite movie over and over just to switch off after a hard day. But this is a game and you have to play a game, even if it is more of a walking simulator and you're just there for the story. Are you going to play through a walking simulator multiple times just for that story? I'd say it's less likely, but as always, it's a very subjective point of view. I personally can't see myself replaying it, but others might enjoy the story enough to do so, and that's okay. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, despite being short, I think the pricing is fair for what you get, even if mileage will vary when it comes to replayability. This is no slight on the gameplay either. Controls work well and there's plenty of platforming to keep you entertained. Navigating the ship while things are blowing up or creatures are chasing you is never a dull moment. Button prompts will appear telling you to hang on for dear life as the rig erupts around you during particularly tense climbing sections. And there's never any confusion as to where you need to go because that yellow paint signalling that everyone is so in love with is strewn everywhere. It's a little immersion breaking, and I can't help but wonder if it could have been done in a more subtle fashion, but at the same time, if you spent too long trying to climb every wall until you could find somewhere to climb, it might break the immersion that game is trying to achieve. I personally don't mind it, as more often than not, while getting chased by a beastie, I was more than happy for some direction in getting away. Still Wakes the Deep is a very interesting title. Its writing, the actors involved and the setting make for a unique game which saves itself from just being another linear walking sim. I never felt safe while playing, and that really is all I want from a horror title, that rush of adrenaline as I attempt to avoid a grim fate. Well, thank you everyone for watching my review on Still Wakes the Deep. I'd really like to know what you think of this video and the game as well when you get a chance to play it. Thank you once again to Hello Guillotine for providing me with this code. As always, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my Patreons for your support. You are all absolutely amazing. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you like what you've watched today, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also like this video. As always, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's been watching Deep Dives, everyone that's subbed to the channel, and also a big thank you for all your support, comments and general feedback. You are all fantastic. Please keep the comments and feedback coming. If you want to keep up to date with what I'm up to, please follow me on Twitter at DonPedroX for regular updates on upcoming videos and other thoughts from my brain. If you like what I do and fancy supporting me, I have a Patreon. I'd like to do these videos more often, so any support you can give would be amazing. Right, see you next time.